Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bistro Podcast. Today, with me is Darius, who is a very special guest with 15 plus years of experience in fintech, blockchain, and whatnot. Very excited to have you, and thank you so much for being on the show. Very excited to speak with you.
Thank you, Arian, for inviting me to your show. It's really a pleasure for me to come to you and support you what you do, because basically I'm also creator. I'm having my own Founders Unchained channel, so I know what it takes actually to record such a things, and I'm really happy to be here and assist you with that.
Sure, thanks a lot for being on the channel. Could you tell us about your background and what brought you into this space of fintech and blockchain? What excited you, and what was the passion or the motive behind pursuing this career?
For the audience who will be watching this episode or listening to this podcast, actually I think it's worth to tell you maybe where it started at the beginning, when I was very early stage in my life. I was a young guy who was very analytic, very strategic, and I was thinking, how the world works. And I find out that basically, if you will start a business, you can achieve things and you can live a life you want. And if you will be working for somebody else, you will not get the same result, as you can see in the rich people, wealthy people lives. So I decided actually to invest a lot of time and effort to digest and dig into the knowledge related to the business itself. So I started to read books and so on and so on. In early days, when I was 20 years old, I actually decided maybe to consider to start my own business. At that moment, I was just only a student without any experience. I had a couple of partners in mind who I can actually involve in the business. I remember one day I was reading one book, and it was a story about a Nike, which says, the story was about a person who actually was considering to start doing something, but he wasn't decided yet. So he said that just do it, and he started a business. And I was so excited to hear the story, and I thought, I'm learning a lot of books, reading a lot of books, learning a lot of things related to business. And I noticed that I spent years, actually exploring what is business, how to do it, and how to start it. And I realized that I need just to start. And that book actually, just do it, that little simple sentence, just do it, inspired me to start. At that moment, I actually, and that was like Sunday, I called a couple of friends of mine and I said, look, guys, I have a business plan. Let's do it tomorrow. And we agreed immediately. We didn't even have any plan, specifics, what we will do tomorrow, but we actually met. We got some funding from the local bank as a loan, let's say. We collected all the money we needed, and we started telco company. That was like first initial business. And to my surprise, for the 2 weeks we didn't know we didn't know what to do. And suddenly we got a client who said that, look, guys, can you just become our subcontractor and let's work on some of the projects together. As we were so passionate, we were so motivated, we invested a lot of time and effort actually into our business, and we did a couple of projects really well. So that client actually offered us other projects to start working on again and again and again. So in the 3 years, I remember right now, we basically developed like 65 projects around my country, Lithuania. So we used to work with banks, and our job was to integrate servers into the premises.
Okay.
And I remember 2007 when the crisis came in place. If you remember this crisis in US, related to loans, that hit our business, and we decided to stop activities and to move somewhere else to try to start something else. I remember after this moment, I was a bit in depression, let's say, just because I was thinking that I'm going to grow this business, it's going to become as an empire. I had so many ideas, what I'm going to do with the money, how I'm going to reinvest them. And I moved to UK, where I actually was working as a line leader. I was involved in a couple of production planning operations. I used to work in UK for 3 years. I came back into Lithuania. I actually started to work for one IT company. This is where I got the knowledge about IT business itself, software business itself. After some time, I actually started to work for some startups in Lithuania who was developing the first mobile payment institution. And I was working for that company from day one till the end. It was completed and finished. I mean, the operations was shut down because
Okay.
investors decided not to move forward. And this is where I actually connected with the fintech world. I started to work with other companies. I moved throughout my career as a business developer, salesman. I gained a lot of good skills and knowledge, how to do the business, how to sell. And I met my existing business partner, Arturas, um, 5 years ago or 6 years ago it was, and he was offering me to start the new business, like business consultancy agency, and that was the moment where we started to work with blockchain crypto companies a lot. And our main service, what we provided, was investor outreach, market research in terms of investors. So our job was to identify the best fitting investors for the specific profiles of the customers. At that moment, it was like Wild West. I remember IDO, ICO moments when the people were raising millions, and it was like amazing opportunity also for us as a consultancy business to be in. And we helped a lot of clients actually to be connected with investors, and based on that, we actually gained a lot of good results. Let's say.
Okay, okay, sure. That's starting at an early age is surely a mode that no one can compete with. So, what was that one thing in crypto that attracted you the most? Why not anything else, and why crypto?
Yeah, that actually concept of crypto, I really believe still in that concept. That it's supposed to be decentralized technology, which enables everybody to stay anonymous, control their own assets. Nobody can touch it. I really believe in that concept, but unfortunately, as you can see right now, a lot of things actually changed. But I'm still looking to that positively, because when the Mika came to place as a regulation, I still feel positive because it's all about the security. It's all about the protection of user and investor. Because 5 years ago, let's say, most of the investors were invested in most of ICOs and IDOs, and most of them basically lost their money because we invested not into the ownership of a company, into the equity, but invested into the tokens. And basically, as you know, tokens, it was like a financial instrument which has no relation to the ownership of a company at all. So basically, it's pure speculation. At that moment, everything was very interesting. Every single introduced concept in the market, it was something new and very, very unique. Now, actually, we can see a lot of companies who are competing between each other. At that moment, back in the days, let's say 5 years ago, every single introduced concept was like a completely new thing, and that was like very interesting to me, to be able to touch those projects, to be able in early stage projects to become as advisor, to think and help them to build the whole strategies. How we can go to the market. Uh, that was a really interesting moment, let's say.
Okay, okay. So, you mentioned that you started at a very early age. So, what were some key lessons that you learned while your initial phase of business that helped you in the long run?
I actually realized one thing, that whatever you do, you need to be very focused on that specific matter. You can probably see a lot of startups who maybe even work on several projects at the same time. So what I noticed, that if you are doing something, you need to be very focused on that. And if you are focused, actually you can make things happen. In the meantime, I spent a lot of time and effort in my life actually building new projects. I also was co-founder of a couple of companies in the past, and I remember the main mistake I think we did. Actually, we started do something without any pre-validation of the idea. At the beginning, I think it's very important, what I learned at least, to do the market research. You need to understand basically, is your solution is for the problem for the masses, or not just only for you? Because some of the founders were actually trying to build solution for the imaginary problems, but you need to start building solutions for the real problems which actually touch a lot of people. So if you will do that, you basically can build something really interesting and very valuable for the masses, for the market. So I really learned this lesson. You need to research the market to understand what is your potential ideal customer profile is, what kind of problems we have, what kind of pain points you need to solve for them, and then start building solution. And in the meantime also I noticed that you need to understand the market size. If you will go to very niche segment, you may build something really good, but in the meantime, it's not going to generate a lot of revenue because the market size is not really too big. So I think those points what I learned as an entrepreneur, basically. So every single time when I have new idea, first of all, what I do, I actually research: is it really needed? Am I solving? Am I solving real problems? And another point is, you need to understand if the people going to buy it. So this is what I learned actually.
I think that's a lot. That's something a lot of founder ignore, and that's one of the biggest mistakes people make while raising capital. Especially when I work with startups, I see that all the time. Before assessing startups, I see that whether it's a real problem and whether there's a real demand for what they are solving. That's, I think, a big one. So could you share anything else, like what are some common mistakes a lot of founders make while raising capital?
Yeah, I think one of the most common mistakes what I can see in founders, because I speak with a lot of startup founders, believe me, from my hands it went through like, I don't know, even maybe 1,000 startups. I checked them personally. I did the diligence on them, because for me, the key is to understand how venture capital investor thinks, because this is the major point here. You need to understand how you will be evaluated in the eyes of investor. If you will place yourself into the position of investor, you need to understand what questions you would raise to that specific startup founder. So first thing, what I really think is important to mention, that you need actually to check again your idea. First, as I said, you need to understand, is there is market for that? Is that idea solving real problems? Can you earn money from that? Problem solving. And if you have market size and numbers in place to show, then maybe it's good actually time for you to go and speak with investors, because people, specifically those who are investing, will really like to see things which make sense business wise. So you need to present not the idea, but you need to present a potential business here. So numbers are important. And what I notice, founders, we basically do not spend enough time for the preparation itself. Before you go to the investor, you need to do all your homework to be super super confident and super clear what you do. And you can see a lot of presentations where there are a lot of data, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's even complicated to understand what basically this founder want to say. So my recommendation would be is to be super clear and to be super short. You need to learn to present your idea even in 10 seconds, and this comes down to the concept of one liner. you know Believe me or not, but majority of founders, we even don't have this one liner in one
they
sentence.
can't describe it in one line. Yeah,
Yes, and basically, it's not supposed to be like infrastructure for, I don't know, blockchain projects. It cannot be like this because it's so superficial, so generic. You need to think very, yeah, you need to think very deeply. How you can present your idea in one sentence, and it's to be super clear and super, super, you know, it needs to be super clear.
yeah,
So people then can understand what you're trying to bring on the table. Another point is, I notice founders, we basically are losing themselves when they're investor raising the question, how are you going to make business? What is your market size? So roughly, guys, we can explain that, oh, our market size is like billions, right? But
yeah,
okay, that makes sense. Some of our markets can be like in billions, right? And we can worth billions, but you also need to work on, you also need to work on the competition analysis too, just to understand how many players are in the market and who are basically splitting the market size. And you need to be very precise. What is a goal, how are you going to get this market, what piece of market you want to get in percentage, let's say. So let's say if a market size is 1 billion, You need to tell precisely, how what percentage of this market you're going to get for a business, and how you're going to get this market. Some piece of a market.
Okay, okay. So, in your opinion, what is more important? Is it the traction or the numbers, or is it the story or the idea, or the, tenacity and the competency and, the dedication of the founder? What's more important, or would you say it's both equally important?
Yeah.
If
So
if you were thinking from an investor perspective.
I think everything what you said, all of those things matter. But of course, we need to understand that the projects can be in different stages. So let's say if I would like to start like space company, everything related to space. Of course, I am as a founder cannot actually show any technology, any development yet. So I need to sell the idea because somebody needs to trust me, to believe me in me, invest a lot of money into my business, so I can develop it throughout like let's say upcoming 5 years. And so this is one thing. If that company which is building something really serious, which actually requires a lot of capital to build this project because it's so innovative, it's so unique, nobody did that in the past. So then you are selling idea. But if you are selling the project which already has some MVP in place, and you have vision to go to the market pretty quickly, like in a couple of months or a couple of years or 1 year, then you need to start selling the business side of things. Not idea, but business side of things, and you need to explain that you are capable actually to run the business, to start the business, to develop it until you will start generating revenues. So then, in those cases, venture capital normally wants to see the team behind. Do you have enough experience actually to do it? Do you have anything like, if you have any experience what you can show that you actually did something successfully in the past. Maybe you have launched a couple of more projects in the past, so you need to present your credibility, why you are here, why you're doing this. Or even if you don't have experience, you need to you need to show the reasons why you came to this specific industry to build this specific project, and what is the story behind.
Okay, okay, sure. So, what's the metric that investor care the most about in a business? Is it the revenue? Is it the profit? Is it the cash flow? Is it the market size, enterprise value, or what's the metric that means the most to investors?
So basically, as I said, it's down. It depends on the stage where you are. So if you are already generating business, when they are very 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 focused to what you do in terms of numbers, and we try to check, what was your growth. Let's say if you are running this business for 2 years, we would need to see every single year statements, financial information to understand how you move your project currently, how it's growing. So we check like yearly growth numbers, and we try to understand, if we will invest into your project, what we can expect within 5 or 7 years, because the cycle of investment in each venture capital, of course can be different, but we expect to invest into the deals and exit after 5 or 7 years. So we clearly want to see the potential of growth of that specific project, which is already existing and have some existing customers and make some revenue. In most of the cases, I've seen a lot of projects who actually making business, generating revenue, and making even some profits. But if investor will see that you are generating only 1% profits uh, a year, and the annual growth is like 1% only, for investors, most likely it's not going to be a good deal to invest into, because what we want to see the deals where we can invest and get like 5 or 10x return on investment after 5 or 7 years. So this is critical, to understand what we are following in terms of valuations, pre-money valuation. This is something what I don't really clearly understand myself, because I don't really believe in that concept that company which has nothing in place we can be evaluated like 20 millions, for example. I
Yeah.
don't really see this math and don't understand this math, to be honest with you, because to me, I'm maybe a very conservative person, but when I see the numbers, then it's much easier to understand where a company is going. When it's pre-seed, it's like casino. If it's like
Yeah.
early stage company, it's like more or less like casino. And in this case, you have founder who is pitching your idea, only idea without any numbers or MVPs in place. So basically, then you start thinking, who is that person who's pitching? Can I trust him? And sometimes you can really meet good founders who are so passionate, so motivated. We can sell the product, and this is what is really important for investors to see how they present idea level project to you. You know,
Okay.
so if you
So
are good in
yeah.
that, most likely you will be successful pitching this idea to somebody else and sell it in the market. If you are not able to sell it, in the meeting with investor, you cannot do anything.
So in 2026, with the coming of AI and everything, do you think that fundraising has become more easier, or has it got a bit more harder because of the competition?
Yes, that's actually a good question. To be honest with you, and thank you for questioning this. I think the age of AI, especially when we have those kind of tools which allows some random people just to build the idea level project in a minutes to something which can be launched tomorrow. I think the competition level is increased a lot. And if you will ask me which time was better now or let's say 5 years ago, of course it was 5 years ago. It was easier for the founders to build something unique and then positioning themselves as a founders who did something really really unique. And the thing is, right now, if I will share a good idea with you, and if you are capable to program, or let's say to use some tools which will allow you to program things without even knowing how to program, you can easily copy that idea. And I noticed that nowadays founders, we basically, before we have any conversation, we're trying to give you NDA to sign first, just to make
Yeah.
sure that we will secure their own idea. And this is really really, to me, looks not really good, because the competitive too big competition is not really good. Previously, if you seen unique idea which has like five competitors in the market, it's okay, competition is good sign. But when you have five competitors, you just basically can split the market size between each other. Right now you have like 100 or thousands of companies who do exactly the same thing. And just imagine,
Yeah.
I spoke with some investors, and just imagine how difficult for them actually became to make decision invest or not, because we never know how many other people actually doing exactly the same thing, because the time to market has became so fast. You can build anything in a day, so literally. I mean, I spoke with some senior developers from really huge companies. We've been developing some products, let's say, for 2 months with a huge team of programmers, let's say, very expertized, programmers, senior programmers, and it took them like 2 months to build something, like just to try and test. Right now, you can do the same solutions in a days. So that was changed, and I think for investors, it's really complicated to make decision to invest or not. Before we invest, we actually spend a little bit more time on the due diligence to check and review the market, what's happening in the market, just to make sure that we are not investing in some of the projects which is one of a thousands.
Yeah. Totally. So, is it a good time to become a fundraiser? Because I've been working with around a team of 8 people, and a lot of them people, like, they're doubting whether this is the good industry and whether they should, even be spending and investing their time into this industry. Because early on, a lot of people don't see success in fundraising. Like, they're unable to raise capital, and they heavily doubt whether this is going to even work out or not. So, do you think it is a good time to pursue fundraising?
Yeah, of course. In every single field, what you do basically, if you are expert and you are connected, of course, you can do business everywhere where actually you have connections and you have expertise. But you need also to have in mind that basically fundraising is not really easy activity. You need to understand the process. that it's impossible to raise capital in a day, in a 2, or in a 5 days, or in a month even. So we expect to see results in a days. But the reality is that fundraising, it really takes time. And why it takes time? Just because you need to have proper connections in place. And ideally, for the founders who have some vision in the future to build something and raise capital, we need to start working on the connections and presenting the ideas even before we started the project. And in this business, what is really important, as you said, trust, also connections and expertise. If you are expert in what you do, and if you have right connections, of course it's worth to do so, and it's worth to check this industry and start doing something, some good things for the clients. But in the meantime, also I would like to highlight that you need to be also very careful, because you need to
Yeah.
understand what you do. And it comes down to regulations also. The brokers who are actually raising the capital, we need to be licensed, and there are some nuances depending on the regions and so on. So first, it's like hygiene. You need to understand regulation. You need to make sure that you are actually applicable and eligible to do such operations. And then you need to have contacts and expertise. And if you know some people already, like investors, it will be easier for you to get in touch. But if you are a random person who's trying to promote the deals, investors don't really like this
Yeah.
cold outreach approach. So I would recommend for the people who would like to come into this business that just to start working on the network itself. Try to be noticed, find the ways how to introduce yourself to the investors. And I think the conferences, global conferences, which are happening, like, talking 2049, GITEX, for example, in UAE. So if you will be present in those conferences, you of course will meet a lot of valuable connections,
Best
help
wishes.
you a lot in the future. But if you are just sending emails, it's not going to work too well, because most of the founders, we basically use some AI tools to spread the messages across, to do
Yeah.
this massive outreach. And the reaction of investors is not really positive in most of the cases when we receive a bunch of emails, which are so generic. In most of the cases, those emails are even not polished enough to represent idea in very clear way. You know,
So, when you started out, what were some key things behind a successful fundraise? Like, how would you describe it? Like, what were some reasons behind successfully raising capital for your clients? And, how did you go about with investors? And how was your initial phase? And, like, how did it look like?
yeah. So it just basically simple. Your hard work and dedication to meet as much people as you can, and willingness to do so. So exactly the same like in every single business. If you want to sell your product to some customers, or you say you want to sell your idea to the investor, first of all, you need to understand, you need to explain your proposal in really clear way, and what you are solving and what kind of problem you're solving. If you are super clear on your message, and you know for sure who is your target audience, then you go to the market and use social media tools like, I don't know, LinkedIn, for example, Telegram, or whatever. And you can use those tools actually to approach people and try to interact with them. And I would recommend maybe not to start selling the idea straightforward, but just basically have a little chat prior, even you
Yeah.
to try to sell, or you try to pitch anything, because you need to build this relationship with investor first. Let him know about yourself, explain what you do, and then when you have this proper connection, then you can start speaking about other topics. And this is the problem what founders do. We basically pitch the idea straightforward, uh, instead of trying to build a relationship with investor first.
Okay. So, what are some platforms where you focus most of your time on? Is it LinkedIn or as you mentioned, conferences? So, for me, LinkedIn is working really well. I mean, I can't go to international conferences, but LinkedIn. So, what are some strategies on LinkedIn which you use to grow your network on LinkedIn? I think you got lots of followers on LinkedIn. I think 12,000 or something like that. How did you grow your network on LinkedIn?
Basically, you need to be active on social media, right? So if you are working on something, like as you said, you would like to work on fundraising. Other guys, we want to start working in other industries, and present themselves as experts in the field. So what do you need to do? You need to have a clear plan. So you need to develop a plan. What you're going to communicate in your, let's say LinkedIn profile. So in my case, I speak a lot about investments. I speak a lot about startups, founders. I speak about the regulation point of things and other related to the business matters. And throughout this, I can get the engagement from my community, and people are liking my posts, people are commenting on the posts, and this is where
Yeah,
I'm starting to have interaction with the audience, which suits me very well. And they can become as a potential investors, or they can become they can become like potential, I don't know, customers and clients. So you need to be active. And what I can tell you that it takes time actually to build community. And what I also notice that it's more and more harder to build the community. Previously, I can
yeah,
tell you that 5 years ago, if you would post one very interesting post, you could get like 10 or 20 followers, 50 even sometimes, if the post is good. But right now, the market is so oversaturated. Everybody wants to speak and publicly announce something about themselves. So the number of information is too big.
too much. Yeah,
So it's really hard to catch up even all the people you would like to follow. I'm following many people, but sometimes I can't even get to the point to see what we are saying
yeah,
because I have too many things to check out. So building the community in the LinkedIn, this is the way to go, I believe, answering your question, because this is where you can get really business people. And this is the number one platform, as I believe, for myself and for everybody else who wants to do anything related to the community growth and try to sell the ideas or pitch some ideas to the community. And from another hand, I think what is actually very underestimated is that people not attending conferences.
yeah.
Not speaking about the major conferences around the world, but I can actually tell you that you can find a lot of good events happening locally, somewhere around in your country, in your city. And even
Okay.
if you have 20 people or 30 people in that event, or even, yeah, I don't know, 10 people in that event related to your topic, I think you should be there, because this is where you're going to meet one, two, three, five, or even 10 people who will relate to you. And then you can start conversations. And I think this is so important. And especially
Okay.
nowadays when everything and everyone are online, people miss this like one-on-one conversations. So this is amazing opportunity for people who wants to build real relationship. We need to be somewhere physically speaking with real people and present themselves. And I think you can get even better results by having your community online, just basically selling idea physically.
Okay. So, I also wanted to ask, like, how do you invest your own money? Because I'm very passionate about public equities and some sort of cryptocurrencies, the stable coins, and how do you go about investing, like your personal philosophy?
Yeah, so maybe 5 years ago, I'm not an active investor, just to clarify, but in the past I had investments into some tokens, let's say. I'm not saying tokens in exchange. I actually was early stage investor in a couple of, let's say, ICOs, IDOs at the time. It wasn't huge investments, let's say, but it was like trial for me. I was excited actually to see how it works. A couple of deals was there were couple of deals were very good. One of them was completely lost, and I realized at that moment that it's not so easy job to invest, because you cannot expect success in most of the cases. So you need to be super clear and do your own due diligence before you invest. But that was like very old year, many years ago. It was like old story, because in that moment it was one of the most popular ways how to raise capital was to offer your tokens, run the TGE, sell the tokens before that. If somebody generates 100x they are happy. If not, sorry, but we have soft agreement and nobody's fault is it is. So that was like completely other times. Yeah, so basically when it comes down to the investments, I'm strong believer that more and more people needs to be focused to the equity point of things, because tokens were not working anymore. Way too many people actually lost money investing in the tokens. Even in the exchange, if you will buy some altcoins, let's say now, most likely you're going to lose the money, in my opinion. So this is not the case anymore, and this is not the way to go. And if I met any founders who actually structuring everything around the token sale, it's not the recommendation from my point of view. What
Okay.
investors, what I noticed actually, what investors want to see, we want to get some piece of a business, right? So meaning that we are looking to invest into equity, and this is the way how we become owners of a company or co-owners of a company, and at least we have some capacity to control what's happening within the company, to be involved in that and be hands-on. With tokens, it's completely another story. You have token, but you have no relation to the company whatsoever. I mean, just only token, right? It can be dumped, it can be profitable, but at the end of the day, you cannot control anything, because it's down to the project to manage the liquidity and market making and so on.
So, do you think that IPO and the public markets and the TGE of tokens are comparable in terms of liquidity and investment from retail investors?
Uh, to be honest with you, the process maybe looks very similar. I mean, the idea itself,
Yeah,
I'm announcing that I'm going to launch tokens, or I'm going to launch the stock. So basically, yeah, by the concept, IDO and IPO, it's very similar thing. Very similar thing. Basically, IPO, this is comes down to the stocks. IDO comes down to the token, but the concept itself, how we've been launched, and it's very similar. But what I really would like to highlight, that IDOs and ICOs as a concept is not working in crypto space anymore. Nobody wants to invest into the tokens, and yeah, so this is the tough reality. So my recommendation to the founders who are actually building something on blockchain, if your whole strategy is around token sale, I don't want to
it's not going to work
disrespect
out.
you,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work out.
Okay, okay. So let's get a bit onto your philosophy and how you're going about wealth creation and the mindset behind your business. So let's say if you were 18 again, how would you go about building your career and wealth from the ground up?
The short question, maybe, I don't know. I would keep everything as it is. Um, in business, when you start businesses, so in business, basically, what I noticed, because I was co-founding a couple of companies in the past, and I'm running my own business right now. What I learned, that failure is not a failure, it's actually a big and valuable lesson to yourself. So this is what I learned. And if you would ask me, if you ask me if I would change anything, maybe not. I actually seen a lot of tough situations. Let's say, it's not easy to start business, invest your time and effort, and do this for many years, and suddenly something happens in the market, some changes, and you need to completely stop the operation and do something else. So it's not easy, because you lost your time. But this is
Yeah,
how a normal person is looking to the things, that I lost, it's bad, and so on.
yeah,
But in my case, how I see the situation, that I learned something from it, and it's so important for
yeah,
me. So next time when I will do something else, I will have this package of experience which already in my mind, and I will be
yeah,
protected,
totally.
because I will know what to do, and what I should avoid, and what I should do, and what works good, and what works bad. So I would like to encourage everyone who's building business right now, even if it's fail, it doesn't mean that you did something wrong. Basically, you learned something new. And this is the concept what I'm trying to use in my life. And I would not change anything, because I think this is the way to go. Of course, for some people, the business, is better. going more well. Let's say, I cannot compare myself with uh, super rich and super wealthy people, of course, because I didn't get to that point yet in my life. But this is the life. You are in the environment where you are in the country where you are. The economical situation is different, and you need to adapt. And if I'm Lithuanian, I will never be so wealthy as I could be, like living in US, for example. And of course, again, this is a question to everybody. Maybe I should move to US. Then the environment will change, and then I will have a chance to maybe build some bigger success. Who knows? But everyone has his own path, his own life, and we are making decisions based on our understanding how the life works. And it is as it is. But I really would like to encourage everybody: if you are failing on something right now, it doesn't mean that you are a failure. Basically, you just learning the lesson, which is like really massive benefit to you, because in the future it's going to help you a lot.
So you've interviewed countless people. I mean, you have so many videos on your YouTube channel. So what were some key lessons that you learned from interviewing those people?
First of all, as a tool,
Like, what is it
yeah.
that all of them have in common?
Yeah, so all of those people, we actually was the early believers in my project, Founders and Chain. This is YouTube channel what I'm running, and so far right now, I think I uploaded more than 600 videos in total. So it's like pretty huge amount. I'm still, learning how to do things. It's quite new thing to me. But what unites all those guests who came to me, we actually are very early believers in early. They are believers in people like you and me, who are building something new. And this is massive importance here, because those people, even if I had just only a couple of subscribers, we came to my channel and we tried to help me actually to grow the channel. And I'm super happy, to see them on my shows. And this is what unites them. We are supportive. We want to help startups. We want to help founders. We are willing to share experiences, from their own past life, from their own experience in life, how we did the
Yeah.
business, what mistakes we learned, how to avoid mistakes, basically. So this is massively valuable channel for the people who are building something, because we can really get real life stories, how the life works in business, what you should avoid and keep in mind when you do your business.
Okay, so one of the last questions I have is, how do you go about God and religion and spirituality? Because I think it's a very important part in business because you need a lot of endurance and resilience in business because there are ups and there are downs. So, in order to survive those downturns, I think you need a higher power, a belief, a hope. So, how do you, go about religion, God, whatever you name it?
Yeah, I believe in God. First of all, this is something very important to me. And in the moments when it's tough in business, actually, when you believe in somebody, not in somebody, but in God, actually, you can feel blessed, because you know that somebody is behind your back and say, helping you out. And in business, it's really hard sometimes. You need to make a lot of decisions. You need to recruit people. You need to hire them, fire them, and so on. You need to manage your clients. You need to solve really complex problems, financial problems. I don't know, some technical problems, and it's really tough, tough journey, let's say. But only the strongest one can survive. But I think the strength is coming from your own discipline, from your own willingness and belief. And God, of course, like, is the power which helps you a lot if you believe. And uh, try to check most of the episodes where the wealthy people are speaking about the wealth, about the happiness, let's say, related to the wealth. All of them, the most richest people, we say that we believe in God, and this is important. I really promote this. Of course, for the youngsters, when we're running so fast doing business and we don't have even time to stop and think about it,
Yeah.
maybe it's not the case now, but believe me, after some time, when you will be older than me, you will start thinking that there is some bigger power, not just only us, but bigger power, and which leads you throughout the life. So yeah, religion is something which is I believe in, and it works.
Okay. So, if you had to summarize all of your life lessons in one sentence, or like had to give it to the younger generation who is, very passionate about business and building wealth, what would it be?
I would say believe. Believe in what you do and less think what other people think about you or about your business. You will meet a lot of people who will try to stop you by saying that it's not going to work. You need to understand that you are the only one person who can do this, and you need to believe in it 100%, and don't care. Please do not care about everybody else who is saying that you don't need to do this, because in most of the cases, this is your case, this is what you do, and you are driven by some higher power, let's say, to do it, because this motivation comes from inside. And if you believe in that what you do, basically just do it, and do it, believe me, and you will be good, even if it will be like failure at the beginning, but sooner or later you will find the solutions. You always will find solutions how to solve your own problems. You just need to believe.
Wow, that was a good one. Sure, I totally agree with that. I mean, believing in oneself and one's ideas is one of the key drivers of faith and success. So I totally agree with you on that. I was really good to have you on the show. Really looking forward to stay in touch. Thank you for sharing your valuable lessons to the audience. Really appreciate it. If you want to say anything to the audience or talk about your channel, feel free to do so.
So, Arian, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to the show. I really believe in that everybody needs to support each other in business specifically. I believe in power of networking. So I'm really happy to see that you started your podcast. You're working on it, and sooner or later it will be success. And I really wish you success with that. And in the meantime, I would like to have a chance to invite your audience also to have a look at my Founders and Chain YouTube channel, because I believe we can really find smart people, smart content, smart content with smart people who are sharing real life experiences. So you know, thank you very much one more time for the.
Sure, have a nice day. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.